Wow, thank you very much, Sotiris. And indeed, it's going to be a sprint of 30 minutes talking about a very complex topic, which I hope you all agree, sustainability trends. We've met before being here, and we discussed about how to approach this topic and make it to you in 30 minutes with some key points. And to be very frank, I don't know if we will make it, but we hope to. Why sustainability, future? How about going a little bit in the past? To many of us, which were, I think, in 25 years ago in the business, sustainability meant probably some environmental permits and maybe a little bit of CSR. It took more than a decade for companies to understand that we need to have role in terms of to take account as a socially responsible citizen among the communities. It took another 10 to 15 years, and now we are talking about ESG frameworks, and we are looking at how sustainability should be approached in businesses. A long time ago, sustainability meant maybe a department, small one in a company, and now it should be in the DNA. Allow me to explain a little bit why we are here today. I'm going to make a little spoiler. Thank you, Diana, for proposing us the poll on the global risks. And the spoiler is the following. Among the top 4 global risks that humanity is facing in the next decade, we have extreme weather events. I don't know if you voted for that as the first one. We have a critical change to Earth systems. We have biodiversity loss and ecosystems collapse. And last but not least, our favorite, we have natural resources shortages. So all in all, we are here today because we have huge levels of consumption. And I would like to ask kindly the organizers. Okay, thank you. This is the reality. We consume twice as much as we need, and more dangerously, twice as much as the planet can offer. Is this going to stop? No, it's been about it the whole day. We've been hearing about it. We are going to go the same level and even speed up with that. We are going to be 9 billion in 2050, and more than half of us are going to be the middle class rising at a certain level of comfort and with a lot of needs and expectations in terms of consumption. This is going to put a lot of pressure, and the key questions for any business that wants to be successful for the next decades is, are you ready to meet up with the 75% increase in consumption levels? This will mean that we will all need more of the planet's resources. We will need more food, more water, more energy, more everything. So all in all, everything is going to change. It's going to be about different urban planning, transport, distribution. Agriculture is going to change. The whole ecosystems are going to see a profound and without doubt, inevitable change. And with this in mind, while thinking that the consumers are ready for this consumption, the question that we want to address today is, are businesses ready to answer this type of expectations? And allow me to introduce, to start the dialogue with the partners in the panel. Elena, given your experience with urban planning and regenerative projects, how do you think businesses should tackle the issue of consumer increasing demands, and what is the role of business in doing that?
Thank you, Andrea. Hello, everybody. Indeed, the subject and the theme, it's quite challenging in the times we are living. But because I'm not a professional speaker, I will speak about our experience and what we are doing. In fact, at Enhood, we see urban regeneration not as a concept, but practically it's a necessity for the future of our communities. I will refer to our reference project for urban regeneration, which is Coresi Brașov. Probably some of you know the project. This is known as still the largest urban regeneration project in Romania. It started back in 2012 on 120 hectares, and it was the first project for renewal and revitalization of a former industrial site, who involved in the design and its development the entire community. Practically, this project reflects our vision on sustainability, which in general sets on 3 pillars, which is environment, social, and economic. And we started the project with a huge responsibility, and we are continue acting responsible when it comes to energy, to mobility, to biodiversity, and of course to the limitation of the carbon footprint. To get to what Coresi is today, and speaking in terms of sustainability, in general, you have to think at local level, to involve the local partners. You have to draw inspiration from the history and cultural heritage of the place. And what we did on top of it, we come with a new layer of the present, which means that you have to customize solutions, which we did in terms of energy efficiency and waste management. And I'm very proud to say that today this is a project of reference also in Brașov. It's a source of positive energy for the city, and it brings joy to the people. So now going to consumers. When you give such a project, you create it and you give it to the market, it's something tangible. It's something which is it's in the everyday life of the people. You improve the quality of life of those peoples, which is an essential vector for sustainability and resilience of the cities. So in this way, you influence consumers. You give them a certain standard, you give them some expectations, you create attitude, and also you create from their side commitment in terms of sustainability. At the same time, we see more and more how consumers perceived the impact of companies' actions in terms of environment and social. And we see that they are starting demanding from us, from the companies, more sustainable products and services. So in fact, the consumer pressure starts playing a significant role when the companies set their visions and strategy, and we should be there where the sustainability strategy is one whole with the business strategy. I believe that we have a challenge in front of us, and this is to lead the consumer to a more responsible consumption. At this moment, humanity is consuming 3 planets per year. So it's very important that we take decisions starting at individual level, at small scale, because every small decision is furthermore declined and amplified across all the sectors. We have to change, and I'm referring to those who are managing the businesses, but also I'm referring to shareholders. We have to change the mindset of how we are doing business. We cannot continue to have unlimited economical growth with limited resources. It's a reality that the planet cannot regenerate with the same rate, accelerated rate in which we are consuming and we are wasting resources. Last but not least, I think that we should move from the concept of being best in the world to the one of being best for the world. It is frequent in our businesses to think of the 3 Ps, which is people, profit, planet. But we know that most of the times we are thinking of profit. Exactly this concept of profit has to be changed and has to be transformed into prosperity and purpose. We believe, and I believe, that the most successful businesses of the future are those which are defined by the 3 R's, which means responsibility, resilience, and regeneration. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Elena. Yes, thank you for taking the microphone. Vasilis Nosky is next. While thinking about Elena's statement and also about transferring the dialogue to you, Vasilis, I remembered a quote that you cited when we met in the meeting, in the preparation meeting. I'm pretty sure you know what the quote is. I will not tell it to the audience, but I think it provides a good intro because it links what Elena was mentioning, the focus on profit despite anything in the given context of the lack of resources, shrinking resources is crucial. And I would like to ask you, Vasilis, how should businesses meet these challenges? What should businesses do? What's your opinion?
Yeah, it's one quotation, but actually I will refer later to that one, but this is not only about the quotation. I think the first thing that we have to say is about looking a bit on the current agenda and looking a bit on the businesses, no matter if we're talking about retail or production, no matter if we talk about big organization or small organization, no matter if we talk about listed company or not listed company. And just because I was privileged to serve in different configuration all of these organizations, what I can say is that I have seen that the agenda is probably the right one. Every single organization is using the United Nations 17th Sustainable Development Targets and shapes all the targets around climate, resources, energy, production, transportation, packaging, and when it comes to social, we are talking about diversity and inclusion, we are talking about affordability, we are talking about health and nutrition. So the agenda is somehow there. At the same time, what we see is that not much progress is being made. And if we see, and going back, I would say, it was a famous Paris Agreement, and we realized, I would say, in 2023 that not that much has been moved. We had a target with 1.5 degree, that actually already we are 1.7 degree. And also, it's true, because this is our reality, we have sustainability agenda, and on top of that, at least the last years, and are many years, we're constantly managing crisis. So we have sustainability plus financial crisis. Then we had COVID, then we had the post-COVID, then we have the supply chain disruption. Then we have the inflationary pressure. Then we had the geopolitical tension. So that creates a bit of a much more complex organization environment on which, together with sustainability, everything should be tackled at the same time. Is there a magical solution? I'm not quite sure that someone has a magic stick just to solve everything at once. But I have seen that probably some of the tactics might be much better beneficial compared with some other ones. One of the things that I have seen is that actually it's something that I believe, is starting with the mindset shifting. Sustainability is something that organizations and the people that they lead the organization, either they are the shareholders or they are managing the organizations, should believe. If you don't believe on sustainability, no progress is going to be made. Of course, you need to make profit. Of course, you need to have your normal business targets. But at the end of the day, you need to believe that in addition to making profits, in addition to having, I would say, the purpose of business is to make business, there is a broader scope. We have to serve the society. We need to be sure that we have a broader scope that we have to play inside the society, inside the communities that we are serving. And because this is a big and a bold statement, at the same time, we need to be sure that it's properly and very well structured, meaning that we need to have targets, we need to make sure that those targets are being equally or are being split throughout the years. It's true that actually we need also to follow up on targets and making sure that we're reporting on the progress of them. The second area that I have seen that actually probably is helping is sustainability should be embedded inside the organization. And when I'm saying embedded inside the organization, I mean that it is not only just the creation of one department of sustainability. dealing with the reporting obligations, and believe me, these are quite a lot, and that's enough. So I have made my commitments, and I'm fine with that one. Embedded in the organization, to my view at least, means that sustainability should act as a filter on any decision that you make inside. If you don't act like that one, then everything is going to stay as a nice statement, long-term targets, and don't forget that every single statement on sustainability, they had an horizon which is about 5, 10, 15 years, and then we act like, I would say, we will see what will happen when the moment is going to come. It's a complex target, sustainability. It's a complex process, and that requires very, very specialized and dedicated resources. Without doing that one, and without being committed on having the dedicated and the right knowledgeable resources, I don't think that much process will be made on it. There are different models also on the sustainability. And there are models, and I have in mind, I would say, the Dow Jones Sustainability Index. If you count how many KPIs exist on that one, there are more than 100. Is it possible for an organization to follow and be really good in more than 100 KPIs? To my view, probably not. And this has nothing to do with the size of the organization. This is simply too much. It's better to take and to be selective, to select the ones that really can make the difference for your business, for your organization, for the sector that you are serving, for the society that you are serving, instead of trying to be good on every single thing that exists around that one. So make it less complex, be selective, focus on the ones that really can make the difference. Of course, sustainability is not only one organization's target. It is requiring very strong cooperation. It's requiring cooperation between lawmakers and governments. It's requiring the cooperation together with businesses and together with the society, together with the consumer. What we have seen so far is that actually the three of them, they are going kind of aligned, but in reality, not that much aligned. We see that the lawmakers are coming with their own agenda and with their own targets, not necessarily knowing and looking up front how much that one could be followed by the organization. And then at the end of the day, we have the customer that actually, or the consumer or the society, that feels that sustainability is something that someone else has to do something. It's not us. So it requires quite a lot of cooperation, strong cooperation, and alignment on every single step that has to be followed. Because if we don't do it like that one, we will continue to discuss about sustainability as being the #1 priority, but progress measuring at the end, well, I'm not quite sure how much we're going to see something happen. And then it comes to, how to say that, onto the $1 billion question, which is about short-term versus long-term. And indeed, every organization has a short-term targets, financial targets, that has to deliver. And at the same time, we know that we have, I would say, the long-term vision and scope that we have to serve as an organization. And then when it comes to how much I can balance both of them, there is no easy answer. Therefore, I do believe that there is a need for having a dedicated and specialized financing schemes for sustainability targets, just to be sure that sustainability is going to be financed, but in a way that actually that is not going to affect the financing needs that the organization and every corporation has. And at the same time, any investment that you do for sustainability should not be the cost-wise or profit-wise the bottleneck of not leaving you to move forward. So we need to reimagine some of the rules of the capitalism and making sure that actually we evaluate the businesses in a different way if we really want to see progress to be made. And it is true, and has mentioned many times, that actually we also need to think what I can do. If I am the one that I'm making what I'm supposed to do, and everyone does the same thing, at the end of the day, collectively, the effort is going to, and the result is going to be huge. If we don't act like that one, and if we believe that someone else has to do, and it's not my job, then we will be here 10 years from now, and we will continue to discuss about sustainability, progress on targets, and why we didn't met all the targets that we were discussing 10 years ago. That's my view on it.
Thank you very much. I cannot not take the opportunity to share with you one thought that I had while listening to Vasilis. So I'm a consultant, and I meet a lot of decision makers, like you, most of the times, with discussions on sustainability. And I can tell you, one of the biggest joys is when I meet people that understand that this concept should not remain at the level of a concept in an organization, but it should rather be embedded, like you were mentioning, within the activities of that organization. That's first thought, and the second is that this type of change requires time. It doesn't happen overnight, and it for sure will be a cost in the beginning, but will show to be an investment on the long term. And talking about long term and the need to change, I will address now to Raluca, who's an advocate on environment and has been a leader of numerous initiatives related to sustainability in Romania, with this question: what do businesses, how do we adapt, and how do we do it sustainably in terms of growth? Raluca.
Thank you so much, Andrea, and good afternoon, everybody. Looking at you, I just want to put the first question: who wants a coffee? Hands up. Like this I was feeling, for example, the last 20 years when we talked about sustainable development, beginning with climate crisis. This is today a topic. So finally we are in political dialogue and a political fashion, as it said, and talking about sustainability on a 5 minutes framework that we are allowed, and talking about the future of sustainability, it's kind of a hard topic. Definitely, we cannot look into sustainability just on the business sector. We have to check all the stakeholders, first and for all. We cannot develop products if we don't have the consumer. Cristian Mureșan started his keynote speech today in saying that we need to identify the needs of the people and validate the needs with the project that we are, or products or services that we are developing. And if you think about this, you think about Apple. Nobody thought that he will need an Apple phone or whatever, or nobody thought that we will need Facebook at the beginning before it existed. And these are examples of things that really disrupted totally the way we are dealing today and doing our business, and they are unicorns, and everybody looks at their success stories. And this is also happening now into sustainability. We need to look into the people's need, ask them what is their need, and try to identify really on societal level how we manage to develop our business, our governments, and our society without letting anyone behind. Because the reality when we talk about sustainable development is that the poorest of the poor will be still poorer. Because the fight for resources, the fight through regulation and for profits will make those vulnerable more vulnerable if we do not know as business leaders and as society leaders, together with the government, to really understand how to fix this. And what we talked before was, I will go to a couple of examples what means transportation, urban sustainable transport, which in fact on a daily basis affects all of us. All of you stays in traffic congestion, air pollution. 75% of the CO2 emissions on global level are clearly because of transportation. So there is a topic that we can dedicate a bit of time, not only on your CSDR reporting that will be starting to be next year mandatory, where you have also the CO2 emissions rate that you need to put down. But when you look into the cities, is how we, as business, identify to do the correct practices and what are the trends that we can follow, and how do we need to talk with the stakeholders and look at women needs, people with disabilities, children, and maybe people elderly. They have total different kind of needs of transportation than we have maybe as normal grown-ups. And we need to create a city that responds to all these kind of requirements. And so a couple of trends that we see in the last years really coming through, and we will be, from our point of view, huge business opportunities, are clearly what we see: electrification of transportation, autonomous driving as well, where we see a lot of infrastructure building, but also investment in vehicles. We have the Green Deal investing a lot of money in new innovation hubs and new technologies. and where, of course, we see a lot of very, very good projects and pilot projects that are really determined to have CO2 emissions reduction. Another very important trend is the one of smart cities and interconnected cities and mobility as a service. So everything is also driven what Elena started to say. The consumer is the one asking for a change. We are looking into not owning a car, but sharing economy model, going into circular economy models, of course, are changing the paradigm and the services. We don't sell the car, we sell the use of the car in the future. We don't want to have anymore the ownership of a car, but we would like now to take a van, tomorrow maybe a blue, in the shared mobility from Dan. We want to take a bicycle or we need a van because we move out. And we do not want to pay for everything by owning it, but just for the users. This comes with the concept of how we as consumers need to have these services and the adaptation through regulations, to business models that give us the permission to really just pay for what we use. Because we will not want to do this anymore. And if we look at the new generation and the new strategies and the new systems, it's very clear. Sharing mobility is absolutely one of the directions that people are going, and also looking into services that come with a smaller carbon footprint and come with a much easier way to navigate through systems. And one other very important topic in terms of mobility and urban planning is also one that Elena was addressing, the one of green urban planning. We don't talk anymore about cycleways, we talk about cycle highways, we talk about, look at Copenhagen, where they put international artists and they do green corridors through city. Why we do this? Because we start to put the human being at the center of urban planning. We are a vehicle-centered planning in our cities. We made bigger streets to accommodate more cars. Now we say that we want to look into a different direction. So therefore, we need to check how we put these people back on the street. Logically, the question will come, yes, but the people need the cars because they need to drive from A to B. But we talk about models of the 15-minute city. We talk about green spacing. We talk about a lot of new small businesses which have grown up to 20% in the first 5 months, after it was becoming a pedestrian area. And I'll give you one more short example about an industry which seems so boring for the majority of you, the cycle industry. A vehicle invented 200 years ago, how much business growth it can have. The last 10 years are a huge boom industry in the cycling industry. We have e-bikes, we have pedelecs, we have speed pedelecs, we have cycle logistics already. And the story goes on. More than 6 million people are the growth on the European market in terms of the cycling industry. 6 million new jobs can be created like this. But it sounds nice and economical growth, but it comes with IE, it comes with IoT, it comes with technology inside. We have wheels that communicate to the cities and to the departments of transport where there is a hole in the bike lane, for example. Because they measure the moment when a bike is braking, and if all the bikes are braking in the same time, in the same place, it means there is a problem in the infrastructure. So the city planners, of course, this is Switzerland, and I give you the best example, they are going and they don't need for 5 or 6 months to repair the bike lane, they can go directly. We have now in the cycling industry already vehicles that communicate directly with the service department, announcing that the bike needs new tires. So you don't sell anymore the bike, you sell also the service of repairing and maintaining a good communication with your customer. And all this shifts absolutely in an industry where there are 2 wheels and a chain and a lot of fun, of course. But it comes with the result that we cannot think about mobility and urban sustainable development in our city if we don't shift and change the paradigm we are thinking about. We have a target of 90% of decarbonization of urban transport in Europe, which is unthinkable to achieve in 2050 if we don't really start to change the paradigm of our way of moving and our way of consuming mobility services.
Wow, Raluca, thank you very much. You're very passionate, and I'm really...
Absolutely.
I'm so, and I hope all of us agree on the point that you need passion to tackle this kind of topics. And you need passion to move the sustainability topic from the slide 7 in an executive report up to each and every slide, each and every topic. Allow me to wrap up quickly because we are against time here. I will conclude on our discussion, not only today, previous, and I hope we managed to share this with you, that sustainability is not a buzzword, shouldn't be a buzzword. It should be an imperative in everybody's business, especially when it comes to gatherings like this and business organizations that you represent and the scale and the magnitude that they can provide in the society. It's a matter of adaptation. And when I say adaptation, let me quote, it's the process of change by which an organism or species becomes better suited to its environment. We've been hearing a lot today about change, and I think maybe having this perspective of a species that really needs to adapt is how we hope we have managed to send you the message of sustainability, which again, it's not a trend, it's an imperative, and it's a matter of education. Thank you all very much for your contribution and passion, and thank you for listening us.